Okay, I'm just gonna like not move my head during this run ever. Alright, so you guys ready? Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Dust, an Elysian Tale. This is an indie action RPG made by one person. That's not entirely fair to say, but this was basically the life project in some ways of Dean Dodrill, who is a really cool dude. He's hanging in QuakeNet IRC right now. So go check it out and chat with him. This game is a really fun game that has, you know, it's not like the best story in the world or anything, but it's a really fun game to play, and I highly recommend that you give it a shot. It's available on Steam, etc. So right at the beginning here, there's this little tutorial sequence where you get to find out about combat, and you can't really skip it or do anything during it that actually advances the game, so I'm just kind of practicing a movement technique that I'm going to use on the first 2 screens and never again. So almost every cutscene in this game can be skipped, and I will be doing that. As you can see, I'm doing that thing that I was just doing. This is called the Rocket Slash. It's just a way of getting slightly more movement out of basically nothing.
Yeah, he also picks up that key because he needs it for money later. So.
Yes. I'm going to need 6 keys, 5 fruits, which I'm going to get kind of automatically, and 2 chickens. And it turns out the easiest place to find chickens is inside walls. Of course, that's where you find chickens, right? This game does have a bit in the way of references to other games. So, for example, the wall chickens are kind of an homage to Castlevania and its style games. So, I've just gotten the roll ability, and now I'm going to be rolling a lot, like the entire rest of the run. Everything, all of the movement in this run is pretty much based around the roll and various ways of using it. Another thing that I'm doing here is I'm canceling the animation of the roll every time I roll by using a crouch slash attack, and then I'm canceling the animation of the crouch slash with a roll. So as a result, I'm able to roll way faster than you normally can. It cuts up about like 1/3 of a second from every single roll you do. So you just have to kind of do this rhythm the entire time you're playing the game. This is one of the few cutscenes in the game you can't skip. You're learning about a new power you just got called the Dust Storm. I'm not really going to use the Dust Storm by itself in this run, but there's an upgrade pretty soon called the Aerial Dust Storm that I'm going to use a whole lot. I'll talk about that as soon as I get it.
Yes, Doc. However, all right.
So now we're rolling. Also, if you roll fast enough, in certain places the camera can't really keep up, but that's alright.
You don't need the camera to know where you're going.
Of course, I just count my rolls, everything's fine. So here we're dropping down here to pick up another key, and then we're using this neat property of aerial attacks in this game, which is that they home in on nearby enemies and allow you to kind of jump up where you really shouldn't be able to. Also right here, I've just gotten this nice little effect called the red barrier. The red barrier is basically anytime you get to the exit of a room and there are still enemies nearby, the red barrier will appear and it will prevent you from continuing until you kill the enemies. So, or more accurately, until the enemies are. So I just kind of knock them away or kill them if it's fast to do so, and then move on as quickly as I can. Most of the time, though, I'll be able to get by without having to fight anything, pretty much. So this is the Aerial Dust Storm. I mean, this itself isn't the Aerial Dust Storm. This is the thing that I'm doing with the Aerial Dust Storm, which is called the Aerial Dodge Cancel. And the idea is just that in the air, instead of canceling the roll with a crouch slash, you cancel it with the Aerial Dust Storm. Also, I think I need that chicken. And this is the fastest method of movement in the game, save for one that I'm not going to get access to. Alright, so here I actually want to land on the ground there before I get to the next screen, and then I'm going to get hit. Eventually. Alright, that allows me to skip a cutscene, because why not? So we're almost at the end of the first zone. And normally at the end of the first zone, there's a boss where you fight 3 giants. And it's really tedious and time-consuming. So what I'm going to do is fly over it. And I'm going to do that using a trick called the Rising Dust Storm. This combines the Air Slash attack with the Aerial Dust Storm, and you just kind of rise into the air infinitely. Again, it's all about animation canceling, and it's really nice how it works. Basically, you can use this to rise into the air infinitely, like anywhere you want, so you can do all sorts of things. Like, for example, flying over boss triggers. So right here, what you're seeing is a panorama cutscene. This just kind of shows you what the zone you're entering looks like. And right now we're entering the village, and so I can't really skip that cutscene, but I am going to skip most of the other panorama cutscenes in the run. I say most because I think there are skips for every single one of the other ones, but I might not necessarily accomplish them. Some of them are a little bit sensitive. Also, I hope you like the sound of Dust grunting as he rolls, because you're going to hear it a lot. Alright, so now we have these 5 fruits and 3 chickens, which is actually more than I need, which is cool. And we're going to sell 5 of the keys that we picked up. We need the other one of them. And we use those to buy teleport stones. Teleport stones can be used at any save point. Oh, hold on. Hold on. We gotta do this important thing. Yeah, go. Get in the corner. Go.
Fail glitch.
Go. Alright, good. So that glitch is called fail storage. And the idea is just that if you try to talk to the NPC as they're going off the screen. Oh, by the way, we just did a really big glitch. There's no conceivable way I could actually explain what I just did there. It would take longer than the actual run is going to take. So instead I'll just say that I did a warp and then bad stuff happened. And then we made a save file, and so now we have a save file that has bad stuff in it. And now we're going to do the Rising Dust Storm to get up to the top of this chamber with vines and spikes. We can't climb the vines yet because we don't have the upgrade that allows us to do that. But we can Rising Dust Storm all the way up. And then at the top there's a chest, and that's why we kept that 1 key. This chest has an item called the Flesh Sheath. No jokes, please. And we're going to equip this to raise our attack from 4 to 154, which is a pretty big upgrade.
Yeah, this is probably the hardest part of the run, too.
And so now that we've done that, we're going to move on with the actual story. Technically, we could have gotten away without actually coming to this area, but the Flesh Sheath saves so much time through the increased attack that it's worth it. So here, I kill that guy, which gets me enough experience to get to level 1. And I'm going to level up right as I enter this cavern. And leveling up has a knockback effect, so that actually cancels the panorama cutscene I otherwise would have had to watch. Also, you're going to start seeing me really make use of the map warp glitch, which I haven't really talked about, so now is a great time to talk about it. Basically, this category is called any % with warps. Any %, of course, just means however much completion it takes to actually finish the game. Warps means we're using the map warp, and this is kind of an unintentional glitch, to say the least. Basically, on this map here, you're supposed to be able to drag it around to see what's there, but I'm going to, while dragging it around, just press the A button with a random room centered, and it turns out that'll allow me to warp directly into that room. So by combining that with the teleport, remember I bought those teleport stones back in town, I can use those at a save point, in order to exit a level from any save point. I can combine that with the map warp, and I can go basically anywhere I want to go. There are some limitations. I can't go anywhere in a zone that I haven't discovered yet, which means I have to kind of sort of advance the story normally in order to get access to everything.
It should also be noted that this glitch is unique to the PC version, and you can't do it on the Xbox version.
Yeah, there's no way to... The glitch requires using the mouse to move the map. The camera or the controller won't allow you to do that, so it is PC specific. There is a warpless category of this game that doesn't use this glitch, and that can be run on either console or PC. And in fact, Elventini, who is behind me providing commentary, runs that category as opposed to this one. So this is Lady Tethys. She's the first boss we're actually going to fight. She's not very hard. It turns out that she has a lot of trouble, like, figuring out how to get up through the ground when your tail is there. I don't know. Look, I just speedrun, okay? I don't speculate. Now we're gonna try for another cutscene skip. My goal is to walk across the zone trigger here and then walk back left before it actually... There we go. Awesome. So that skips the panorama cutscene because the game remembers that I was walking left before it actually switched to the next room. And so when it actually goes into that room, even though the cutscene's playing, it remembers that I was walking left, and so it sends me left, back into that previous room, canceling the cutscene. There's some story stuff happening here. I'm not talking too much about the story, because you should play the game. It's really good. Although, if you don't want spoilers, every part of the run is okay for you to watch, except the end. Should be obvious why, I guess. Also, there's, like, you'll notice that I'm waiting for a bit before skipping these cutscenes. That's because you can't skip them until, like, the dialogue portion starts. So for the most part, I have, like, muscle memory for when that's gonna happen, but sometimes I'm just slightly off, and so I have to open the menu twice. And now we're just getting out of here as quickly as we can. There again, you see that the aerial dust storm homes in on enemies that are nearby, which is really, really nice. That's General Gaius on the right. He is the final boss. That's not really that much of a spoiler. Like, you meet him almost immediately. So now we're entering the Sorrowing Meadow, and this is probably the most broken zone. We're gonna go... Basically, we have 4 objectives in here. We're gonna go directly to the objectives, and then, of course, we'll have to walk out to find the save point, and then we can teleport back to the world map, and then warp back in, and so on. So this is mostly just movement optimization and doing things quickly. I would say you have about a minute and a half for donations if you have them.
All right. We have a $35 donation from Forgetta Kueller. Hey Volugian, thanks for running 2 of my favorite games in recent memory. Best of luck in the runs. I'll be checking out your channel after SGDQ. We also have a $35 donation from Mishley. Hey Volugian, Mishley here. Congrats on your recent sub 20 record. Still unable to beat 105 for Warpless, but working on it. Hopefully you can get Flesh Sheath first try this year. Please put this towards anything which will involve another game being played or additional content glitches being shown in a game that's already being played. Volugian can pick if he has a preference. We are $75 away from reaching the Visit the Dev Room in Anodyne, which is in about 40 or 50 minutes, I believe.
So a thing that I just did there was that I jumped into the air at the same time that I opened the menu to teleport. And that allowed me to have higher height as I entered that room from out of bounds when I did the warp. Because the Y height that you exit the last room that you were in determines the Y height that you enter the room that you warp into. So I needed just a little bit extra height in order for the game to spawn me out of bounds, but not out of bounds enough that I couldn't just get into bounds. It turns out floors are not that solid, for example. Also, right after this mansion, we're gonna go to the 4th one, and I'm actually not going to warp directly into that mansion. I'm gonna warp outside of it, and the reason is that I need to break some walls that are outside it before I can actually go in, because the walls will block me from coming back. So we're gonna get these bomb fruits here. And we're gonna go all the way over here and pull them down and break these two walls as quickly as possible. And now we'll use the aerial dust storm with that beehive or flesh fly nest or whatever it's called, and we'll get back up to the top. Now we'll go in the mansion.
Yeah, the Sorrowing Meadow here is definitely the longest of the chapters to go through, so you have to go to all 4 mansions.
Also, another thing that I'm doing here, you'll notice that there was a brief glimpse of the red barrier there, but I actually could have just knocked some of those enemies away and gotten by. But I intentionally killed a whole bunch of them because I need experience, not too much. I could probably get away with a little less in that case, but I need to be at a certain experience level so that when I defeat the next boss, I'm going to get to level 8. Because the way this game assigns stats, the way this game works in terms of leveling up is that each level up you get a gem that you can assign to one stat. You have 4 stats: HP, attack, defense, and fidget. For the purpose of the speedrun, all we care about is attack. But you can only have up to 4 more points in your highest stat than your lowest stat. So we want to be at level 8, because then we can have 1 point in every stat, except we can have 5 in attack. So there's one rub to that. I'm on casual difficulty, and casual difficulty is really nice for some things, like for example, infinite stamina. But on the other hand, in casual difficulty, it automatically assigns your stats every level. Like it's going to now. So I was actually supposed to switch difficulty before killing that boss, but I failed to do so. If you switch to normal difficulty before killing the boss, then you'll be able to assign your stats manually. And I'll put them all into attack, and whatever else needs to go into the other stats to allow that. And that'll allow me to get the maximum possible attack. It's a difference of about 100 attack, which, remember, the flesh sheath was 150, so 100 is pretty big. But we can still, like, it doesn't prevent us from beating the game or anything. It just costs us probably around 40 seconds. Alright, so now we're basically skipping directly to the end of the game. This zone, Blackmore Mountains, it's supposed to be fairly lengthy, fairly challenging. There's a lot of mandatory fights. And also here in this house, some cutscenes are going to happen. Sorry, no spoilers. And then we're going to go to the end of the game. Also, I guess right now I'll talk a little bit more about that glitched save that I made earlier. So it turns out when you warp to a room that is not quite a normal room, like it has a space on the map, but isn't actually a room, the game will put you in a weird state where it thinks you're in the Glade, which is the first zone in the game. Also, this is to skip a cutscene. But it still has the same, like, you're still in the same room that you are already in, which is weird in and of itself. But then you're going to make a save, and that save is going to have the property that it has no location. So if you load that save, you will stay in the room that you're already in. But your game state will revert to where it was when you made the glitch save. Also, this is the final boss. Good music for this fight. Also, I am kidding. This fight has actually really good music, but because of the map warp that we did, you don't get to hear it. So you just get to hear the main world map music forever.
One benefit to the save that he did to get here is this boss normally has 4 stages, and we skip directly to the final one, so you don't have to fight 3 of them.
Yeah, each phase of this fight has 60,000 HP. You can see how much damage I'm dealing, so 60,000 is kind of a big deal. In fairness, I'm doing less than I would if I had correctly done the level up, but it's still a lot of damage to deal. 240,000 or whatever. Plus, the other phases all have extra enemies just wandering around being irritating, so it's really nice to skip those 3 phases specifically. So this entire fight is just me doing this one combo to just kind of keep him stun locked. It's kind of hard because sometimes he'll just arbitrarily parry you or just get invincibility frames. But if you do it right, it's pretty quick. Time is not when I deal the final hit to this boss, because there's one more thing after that. So after you defeat the final boss, I'm gonna try not to make this too much of a spoiler, but basically there's a sequence where you're supposed to crawl along the ground for around 30 seconds. But it turns out that our glitch save has the property that it can kind of... Well, I'll just let you see for yourself. We're just about done here. Alright, we're gonna finish him off with regular attacks so that he doesn't go flying after a pile driver, although he still went flying. Alright, time is about 20 seconds from now. Alright, so we have to wait for this to fade in. Oh, by the way, if you don't want spoilers, go away like right now. And now we're gonna load that save file. Oh, that's kind of funky. Let's try it again. And time. Not too bad for the mistake.
It's definitely good.
So yeah, aside from how thoroughly I broke it during this run, this game is actually really, really good. I'm not even kidding either. Like, it is a really good game. Absolutely worth the money, and I highly recommend that you pick it up. Also, thanks very much for Noogie for joining in the QuakeNet chat. That was really cool of him. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, thanks for having me twice.
Big thanks to Elysian for that Dusk and Elysian tail run. We're gonna take.
What's with this thing?
Did you break the mic?
Should we not?
We're gonna take a quick commercial break and then.